Good morning. We're starting Chapter 7 today. Chapter 7 is fairly heavy with algebra. The first lesson's not too difficult though. So today we're going to be multiplying two binomials together. Could you do the minds on please for lesson 7.1 if you haven't done so already? I'll be taking it up in a second. So by the end of today's lesson you will be able to multiply together two binomials and you will be able to solve problems involving two binomials. Let's get started. So the minds on says expand and simplify. So as you can see, we're being asked to expand the 6 into the brackets, and we have to stop at the 3. You only go to the closed bracket if you've got a number outside a bracket. This is called the distributive law. And then we're going to repeat that with the number in front of this bracket. And in fact, the number in front of that bracket is like -1, right? There's no number there, but you distribute the sign and the number. Okay, so let's get started. 6 times x is 6x. So this is going to equal 6x. 6 times -3 is -18. -1 times 5 is -5. And -1 times -x is positive x, because a negative times a negative is a positive. And then we would gather our like terms. So let's put the x's beside each other and the numbers beside each other. So we would end up with 6x plus 1x, which is 7x, and -18 minus 5, which is -23. So simplified means that you do not have any brackets, you do not have any like terms that have not been combined, so all you have is just unlike terms and minuses and pluses between them. Okay? All right, so let's start the lesson. Okay, we're going to learn a process to multiply two binomials together, and it's called FOIL. And FOIL is an acronym, so here's FOIL. FOIL stands for first, outside, inside, last, right? F-O-I-L. Okay. So what it means is you've got two brackets and you're multiplying the first one by the first one in the other bracket. That's what F stands for. So A times C. So that's F. Then you're going to take the outside ones. So outside of the brackets, on the very outside part, are the A times the D. So that's going to be your outside. Then you're going to go to your inside letters. So this is B times C. So that's your inside, BC. And then your last are the last ones in each binomial. So that's going to be BD, so L. And you're going to do it in that order as well. Okay? Now I know it's confusing with the letters, but you're going to be doing it with letters and numbers. Okay, so if I was to do the same thing with this one, it would be 2x times 4x, which is 8x squared. So that would be my F. And then I would have 2x plus 5 times positive 5. So that's going to be 10x, positive 10x. That's why I put a plus there. And then I would have 3 times 4x, which is positive 12x. So this was my O, this was my I, and the last one is 3 times 5, which is 15. That's going to be my L. You don't have to put the F and the O and the I and the L. I'm just showing you for now. Okay, so I'm going to do A and you're going to do B. So this is going to equal, oh, sorry, going back to this one, this is not done because we have to simplify our like terms. We've got 10x plus 12x. And so we still have the 8x squared, we've got the 22x, and we've got 15. When we add 10 and 12, we get the 22. So we end up with only 3 terms, not the 4. All right, so here we go. X times x. The first times the first. That's going to give me x squared. X times x is x squared. But x plus x is 2x. So remember, it's different. Your exponents change when you're multiplying variables. Your exponents don't change when you're adding like terms or like variables. Just the numbers in front change. All right, so we've got x times x for our f. Then we're doing outside. So the outside is x times 2, which is 2x. It's positive. Positive 4 times x is positive 4x. And then 4 times 2 is 8. All right, so x squared. We're going to add these two together. That's 6x plus 8 when we gather up our like terms. Okay, pause the video and try B, please. Okay, so we've got x times x, x squared. Outsides, x times 6, positive 6, that's plus 6x. Negative 1 times x, the insides, is negative x, and negative 1 times 6 is negative 6. When I gather up my like terms, I've only got one x squared, so that's that. I've got 6x minus x, that's 5x, and I've got minus 6. There we go. We have expanded and simplified using FOIL. Next, 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times minus 10 is minus 20x. 1 times x is positive x, and 1 times negative 10 is negative 10. So I've got 2x squared minus 19x minus 10. Remember, it's a good idea to use your calculator to do your addition or subtraction of your integers just in case. Ah, this one's tricky. X plus 5 squared. Well, we can rewrite that as x plus 5 times x plus 5. I'm going to go back and put equal signs on these because really you should. All right. So let's FOIL that. X times x, x squared. X times 5, 5x. 5 times x, 5x. And then 5 times 5 is 25. Always look at your positives, your signs, right, to make sure that you're getting the right sign as well. X squared plus 10x plus 25. Okay, so foiling is really not that difficult. It just takes a little bit of practice, which you can do because this lesson is so quick today, right? You'll have lots of time to practice. Let's do a word problem. Donna wants to paint the walls of her bedroom. The dimensions of each wall are x plus 1 by 4x plus 1. Well, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense because usually we give dimensions as numbers, but there's an expression instead of a number for the length and the width. So we might consider this to be the length expression and the width expression. And of course, walls are usually rectangular. So it says write a quadratic expression that represents the area of one wall. Well, we know that the area is going to be length times width. So the area is going to be x, well, I'll put the length first, 4x plus 1 times x plus 1. There, that's a quadratic expression. Remember, quadratic expressions have an x squared, and we know that if we FOILed this out, we would get 4x squared as our first term. So this is quadratic. Now it says, write a quadratic expression that represents the area of the entire room with 4 walls. Well, before I do that, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to simplify this expression. So if it said simplified, write a simplified quadratic expression, then I would have to FOIL this. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'm going to call it 4x squared. That's the first. The outside is 4x. The inside is x, and the last is 1 times 1 is 1. So if I wanted a simplified expression, I would have 4x squared plus 5x plus 1 when I add these two together. Now it says write a quadratic expression that represents the area of the entire room with 4 walls. Well, you're just going to multiply this by 4. So again, I'm just going to stick the word simplified in. And I'm going to say then A equals 4, because there's 4 walls, times this expression that we have for the area of one wall. So 4 walls times the area of one wall, that's going to be, now I have to distribute that 4 through. To get it completely simplified, we don't have any brackets in simplified form, so we would have something like this. That is completely simplified. If x equals 2 meters, what is the area of the entire room? Well, all we're doing now is solving for the area when the x is 2. So we're just going to sub in 2 to our equation in simplified form. So A equals, don't forget bed mass, you have to square first and then you multiply through by 16. So this would be 4 times 16, which is 64, plus 40 plus 4, and if we add those numbers together, that's 104 plus 4 is 108. And this was in meters, so our area will be in meters squared. Therefore, the area of the entire room is 108 meters squared. Okay, well, if paint costs 50 cents per meter squared, how much will it cost Donna to paint her room? Well, we know the cost is going to be the unit cost times the area. So the unit cost is going to be 0.5 per 1 meter squared, and we have 108 meters squared. So the cost, of course, is going to be half of 108, which is 54. Just going to move that down a smidge. Okay, therefore, it will cost Donna $54 to paint her room. Okay, that is it for the lesson. So I would like you to do the consolidate for 7.1, and I would like you to get started on your homework. It's on your handout. Thank you very much.